That's crazy. Yo, we're here. Yo, Watch the Climb. We're here. Mike's alive.
Yo.
We're here. Watch the Climb. Your vision, your hustle, your climb. I started thinking about this in 2019, and it didn't happen. I have recorded a couple of shows, and I just left them on the back burner. But we definitely trying to kick off before the middle of the year. And I know I've been traveling. I've been doing the 9 to 5, but I definitely want to get a couple of my day ones in the building. In the building, we got Bronx Crypto.
Yep.
My guy, Bronx Crypto, and we got Vtatv. So, quick segue, Watch the Climb. Man, I've seen you climbing, my bro. I've seen you climbing for a bit. Met you, real quick story, met you at Amari's spot, the Bronx native. Basically, I was there to get some merch. I always try to get merch before I travel. Met you. Connected immediately. You were rocking the Vaz boots, which you rocking right now, and I'm like, I know he's an OG. If you know about the Vaz boots, you already know the struggle, you know. So we talked about crypto a little bit, and I was already on it, and I wanted to know more. You said, hey, let's go to Choco Bar. We're doing this crypto event, one of the first events for you, and I tagged along, did some recording. Awesome event to many, right? Fast forwarding the next year, Miami. After that, Consensus, and that's when my man Vtatv, Bio, Consensus, we seen his handiwork. Actually, before that, right? Before that was Huntington.
Yeah, Huntington.
Right?
Free Library. Yeah.
That's when we officially met, right? So I just wanted to just lay the groundwork on where we clicked, where we met. I've seen Vita put the work in real time. Metaverse, awesome. We're gonna do more of these events. Wanted to just set the real time on your hustle. I know you were doing it prior to me meeting you, so let's give you the space. We're gonna get to Julio in just a second, but Vita, tell me about this metaverse, because we know of crypto. We know about crypto. We don't really know the metaverse yet, right? Collectively, the normies. Put us on.
All right, guys. So, Chris Gonzalez. I'm the founder and creator of Vtatv. We're here for a media production distribution network. Also, I'm a global blockchain media reporter. The metaverse was something that I ran into around the era and the time frame when COVID first came about, roughly around 2019. When everybody went into the pandemic mode, right? Where we went in lockdown, a lot of access to outside reality and real world experiences were down to a limit, right? People were pretty much limited of what they can do in the public world. I'm an essential worker, live working in the ICU, intensive care unit inside the New York Presbyterian Hospital here in New York City, Manhattan area. And it was something that I sort of put into my mind to like figure out how can I experience real world experiences without being in the real world. So the metaverse became about, I discovered this virtual reality world, something that was a digital or a virtual experience that replicated real world moments. And the metaverse, again, is just nothing different than a website or a platform like social media platform, where instead, here's my cool analogy, instead of being on the internet, you're in the internet. So instead of actually reading or seeing something that's on the internet, you're experiencing that within the internet in an interactive experience of what you're seeing or what you would read.
So backing up just a second, and this is how I love that you said that. This is how I explain it. Back in the day, we had Yoville. Mm-hmm. So Yoville was like, right, Decentraland.
Mm-hmm. That was like The Sims of back then.
That was like The Sims, right? Yeah. So you're a character roaming around. Mm-hmm. So when I think of Decentraland, I'm like, holy shit, like this is, I'm in, right? You said not on the internet, you're in the internet. Yeah. So I just wanted to throw that out there for anybody that like can try to understand that you're in it, you're involved. After that was like Farmville, Yoville, you had a job. Farmville, you were like an essential worker in like agriculture, right? But the idea was you're in the internet.
Correct.
You're a part of it, like a functioning being. You're working. You got friends. Like I remember my boy was like, "Yo, I might hang out with my shorty." I said, What are you talking about, bro? Yeah.
And now it's beyond just being in the internet or on the internet. It's, you know, more than just networking and having friends. You're actually creating, you're actually spending, buying, you know, sending money, sending value to each other. So it's the
community.
It's Web3. It's the new iteration of the internet.
Yeah, the community. So let's for the people that think of those communities on Facebook. What brought people together was the interactions. But now we're talking about not e-commerce now. Now we're talking about branding. We're talking about the NFT movement, you know, the Art Basels, all of these things that are IRL, right? But they're happening also
Correct.
on the internet, right? You're not just, it's hard to, when you've been part of it, it's hard to be like, all right, what exactly are we doing? And to explain it to people, right, the onboarding process, right? I think it's critical that we are allowed to go, let's take it back to the basics. Why are we doing this? You know, like the onboarding with, we'll talk a little bit about that, the onboarding with
crypto.
With crypto.
And it's funny now that you say it like that, because crypto is actually ahead of the metaverse. There's still a delayed reaction towards the metaverse. Like, crypto is getting mass adoption, is getting acceptance and more interest, and people are still denying the metaverse or still downplaying the metaverse. Like, what is the metaverse? But the metaverse is coming, and that's next up.
I mean, just to add in there a little bit too, the metaverse was something that was really initially created to really be an extended reality of someone's business or services. It creates more of an expansion of reachability and accessibility to people who don't have the access or accessibility to access something specific. I mean, it can be either a service or it can be a corporation, even a movie or a concert. It gives people now the luxury to attend these moments, to participate or partake in these moments without being there physically, but still having a real-time interaction with these opportunities.
Now let's get into, now we got your vision. Let's get into, and then, you know, I want to definitely close with Julio and then have an interaction on what's next, right? Tell us a little bit about, we got the vision, your hustle on seeing this vision and saying, what are the pieces, what's the technology that I'm using in order to start broadcasting? Like, I've been blown away, and I'm a tech guy. You know, we talked a little bit off camera on this, where, this whole time I wasn't even on. See what I'm saying about this thing?
So what's going on?
There's no interaction with this guy. He drops. So if I'm not flipping, let me lock in. Yeah, that's why I needed this, and I didn't have the wire to go across. Give me 1 second. I'm losing my train of thought. Damn, definitely lost the train of thought. Can't fucking hear that.
All over?
No, not all over.
Talking about how did the streaming services?
Yeah, thank you. Hold that thought. Let me just see. I got balls over there, and I lost camera. I lost for whatever reason. I lost that camera.
By the 30-minute mark, so.
Nah, it's not pushing it. It's just it's I lost it's not switching. I gotta be wired. This is a good thing though that it happened now. It didn't happen when I'm like interviewing somebody else. Y'all would understand.
I know, because this is what I do. Yeah, I do the same
Connected.
thing. That's why next time, you know what I should do next time too when we do this? I should bring my Mevo.
I was not even connected.
The 3 cameras I have, the 3 Mevo cams. That's why I actually should I bring the Mevo cams? Because those are 3 cameras. I could put one pointing at him, one at me, and one at you. You know what I'm saying? You know what I'm saying?
I figured, you know, he had everything.
No, he does. But I'm saying, it's the more the better.
Connected. There it is. I gotta get out of the app. Go back in the app.
Is
Get out
that
of the app.
Bluetooth?
No, it's on the network.
Yeah, it's Wi-Fi.
Yeah,
That's
it's Wi-Fi.
Yeah.
But it's the app. The app is just not their app.
Yeah.
Their app is on a computer.
It's because that app has an IP timer.
Yeah, it's basically IND, IND, right?
It has an inactivity thing inside of it.
So
All right.
let's back. So going into the broadcasting, let's talk a little bit about that, because when I met you, I was blown away. I've been in tech since 2019. So I'm familiar with a lot of these, but when we're talking about broadcasting, you're talking about layering and protocols, and like you explain as a cable box. So I'm gonna let you go into that. Y se me cayó la vaina otra vez, loco. Oh, míralo ahí. So I want you to explain the broadcasting part of the meta.
Right. So think about it like this. When the whole metaverse topic and crypto and blockchain became onto the surface technology for me to like discovering these moments, I wasn't around at the time of COVID, right, and the lockdown. I wanted to sort of provide content and media for people that could not come out. I'm an essential worker, so I was able to sort of be outside still. I had that permission from the city. I was able to drive around and basically showcase the world in my first person perspective to the people that were viewing my social media. I then teamed up with a friend of mine who was also the co-founder of Vtatv. His name is Ernesto Hernandez, and he is also known as Bitfiend.eth inside the crypto world. A very good friend of mine, a mentor, a brother, and he sort of taught me the ways, right? We teamed up together and we ended up thinking about how can we share these moments that you have such a privilege of actually participating in, which is the availability to go outside and be free and still experience the real world while everybody's still in lockdown. And the idea came about, Vtatv, creating basically a television network that lives on the blockchain and educating the people on blockchain, but still providing what we do and see today, which is television-like media. And we thought about creating this now in a way where it was more immersive. So how are we going to do that? Well, VR headsets were something that was becoming a popular thing with Facebook and the Meta Horizons and their metaverse that was happening in the virtual world on their Oculus headsets. So we thought about creating media exposure through virtual reality. We ran across a platform called Decentraland, and on that platform, we were able to stream freely. So we then began to create Vtatv. Fast forward now, we took all of these moments from visions of us driving in the streets and our real life documentaries that we were creating and built it into our network that we sort of created living within an NFT. For those that don't know what an NFT is, it's a non-fungible token. It's a whole different topic, something that I recommend you Googling and researching on. But it's no different than the sales of an asset, right? It can be similar to like Apple iTunes and distributing your song or your music or an album. In this case, NFTs is a protocol that lives on the blockchain. We combined that with broadcasting, and now we were educating our people on what blockchain was, how you can use this new innovation of technology rather, and how we were correlating that to broadcasting in the media world. And that was again how I became involved.
And how many at this point? How many do we have? How many do you have? How many broadcasting? So, like when you say broadcasting, where's this going to? How many people?
That's a good question. I like you asked that one. So we're streaming over 11 platforms, approximately maybe even more than that, possibly 15, 16. Some of those are popular names like YouTube, Twitch, Kick, Facebook, X. Some of them are web3 platforms like DLive or the Arena. These are platforms now that are now, these are good platforms you should all be checking into. If you're a web3 DGen, you know about Arena. Arena basically incentivizes you in the form of tips, and you actually get tipped in cryptocurrency. And I've made a good amount of money there as well using their native token called the Arena.
What's the other one? I won't say pause. What's the other one?
Well, they have something called Cacqueña. That's a funny crypto name for a coin, but it's a spin-off.
It's a little roost. It's a cock.
Yeah, it's a cock straight to the head top, but it's something that it's a replication of a very popular crypto coin called Shiba Inu, right? And Shiba Inu this is a parody of that. And they called it.
Oh, that's a fun fact.
Don't get discouraged by the funny names, because look at Farcoin. Look at the great success that Farcoin had, and people think that the name is silly. Sometimes the stupider the name, the more clever it is, and the more interest people have in it. Or people they get discouraged from it, and then they miss out heavily. So. Cockcoin.
That's very true.
So we've covered. Yeah, I just have to throw that out there. It's crazy. So we've covered. Again, this is a. I don't want to give too much. You know, we're gonna sell the sizzle, not the steak, right?
Nice.
We're gonna show the sizzle, but we're all Latinos. I think there is definitely some synergy. I met Julio. I've been around, trying to motivate, trying to push, trying to extract every good, part of him and saying, look, we go, waving the flag day one. And then I met Bio, and I saw the energy. I saw it at the Huntington State Library. And it takes a certain type of person to push through and persevere. Right, so this is
100%. Sure. And if you're the smartest person in the room, you gotta look for the exit sign. You gotta run as fast as you can. I want to give a shout out to you, Hector, and a shout out to you, Chris, Vtatv, because the passion that you guys have in your own realms and your own circles, it's really addictive, it's really inspiring, and it just keeps me pushing forward, because entrepreneurship is not easy. Right, entrepreneurship is a journey.
It's actually impossible.
Yeah, but you have to believe in yourself first. 100 days, 365 days out of the year, you got to believe in yourself first. And sometimes you get a little discouraged, and you need people like this around you to motivate you and say, nah, you got this, keep going. Well, that's what we're working on. We building this, we doing this, creating new revenue streams, new podcasts, new opportunities. So this is very important. If anybody's watching this and you're an entrepreneur and you feel like giving up, just don't, because I could have threw in the towel many rounds ago, but I'm still in it.
Correct.
Not to close with how difficult entrepreneurship is. That's just a long.
Well, anything that's worth it is difficult, right? If something is too easy in life, it's probably not good for you. Right? When something is challenging, it's more rewarding in the future. And let me just say something about the metaverse. So everything takes time. Just like crypto, blockchain, web3, it took me a few weeks to actually understand it, to see the potential in it. And it took me just as long to get into the metaverse. And it wasn't until I tapped into the metaverse and I joined one of the streams and I saw that there was someone from Gaza that was watching, I believe, a Nick game that we were streaming on Vtatv, and I said, "Wow, this has the potential. This person doesn't have cable vision. This person doesn't have Optimum. This person doesn't have anything, but he has a cell phone." And it's the same thing with crypto. As long as you got an internet connection, you get access to financial services, and it's the same thing with the metaverse. As long as you got that internet connection, you got options to stream movies, stream games, stream live concerts, and that's just so empowering and so life-changing, and it's gonna just grow. There's a lot of fashion brands already doing it. Philip Plein is doing it, Gucci's doing it, Nike was doing it. There's a lot of people, and we're not even touching the surface when it comes to wearables with fashion and AR, or augmented reality fashion, how like your clothing could come to life. And we're gonna be talking about this, just like New York is becoming the capital of crypto now, wait till the fashion industry starts using the metaverse and becomes the center point of highlighting the metaverse with fashion.
Just to add in there real quick too, like people sometimes have misconceptions about the metaverse, and just to give you guys a little bit more clarity, and we'll bounce it back to Hector real quick, but it's just an extended reality or extension of someone's reality, right? If you run a business, a corporation, if you want to add more layers of visibility, that's the metaverse, right? It's no different than like Instagram or Facebook or X, these platforms that are social platforms. They all do the same thing, but it's the demographic and the community that lives within these platforms, right? That's really what you're wanting to be a part of. So this is why you see people create profiles in all of these social platforms, because they're looking for the maximum reach of these demographics of communities, right? That's what it is.
Can you imagine in a few years from now when the Met Gala is using augmented reality? Their outfits are already over the top. Mm-hmm. Imagine when they start coming to life.
There was a collab, and you guys could check this out. Those that are watching this, you can search up Dress X, and they've collaborated with Gucci and many big names, including the Met Gala. Actually, they have an AR, augmented reality fitting application, so you can actually get a digital fashion skin, and this is what it's called, an NFT, and you can actually try it on your human self. without it being on you. And you can see how it fits yourself. It actually just attaches to your body using sizing technology within the camera.
And that's a use case
Huge.
for the metaverse.
Correct.
That's going to change how you do shopping online.
Correct.
Because one of the things that you can do online is actually try out your clothes, right? You could purchase even real estate now or buy anything on the internet, on Amazon, but you can't just try on actual shirt or a suit without going to the store. Now with this technology, and you can have your avatar with the exact dimensions of what your waist is, what your shoulders, what your arms is, your neck length and width. Imagine that you can actually go and try out clothing online from the comfort of your home and buy it, and it fits perfectly when you get it.
Yeah, that's true. And bouncing this to Hector right after this last one, I know I said that before, but Julio just gave me a cool idea I wanted to share with you guys. For those realtors out there, right, the real estate agents, the metaverse, check it out. I've done it myself. I've used what they call is LiDAR technology. LiDAR technology allows you to actually scan a real life space and convert that into a format called GLB. And that GLB file is a 3D file that can be used in the metaverse. Imagine you want to buy a house, multi-million-dollar house, but you're in Dominican Republic or Nicaragua or Puerto Rico, but that house is in the United States or in Nigeria, somewhere that you can't access right now.
You can't go to the open house.
Correct. Imagine you jump in a VR headset and a full real life one-to-one replica of that physical location exists in the metaverse, where you is represented as a virtual avatar entering that full replica, real replica of that location in the metaverse. That is the number one way that realtors are now becoming more accessible to when it comes to sales of property. And that is something that's also becoming a thing when you think about virtual real estate. And that's a whole different topic in itself. Check that out. With that being said, back to my boy Hector.
Back to no, this is all great information. One of the things that I wanted to really push out in this conversation was, we talked about the vision, the hustle. The vision is ongoing. Clearly, we're gonna have more of these conversations. I want to definitely to sell the sizzle and not the steak. I want to make sure that we do more of these for the Latino community. We are Spanish speaking, Spanish raised, right? Latino raised, not Spanish. We speak Spanish, born and raised in Spain. I always like to make sure we touch on that. When I went to Bitcoin in El Salvador, I was blown away by that going back to demographic and community. I was blown away with guys from Bolivia, guys from Venezuela, guys from Puerto Rico. Like now they live here, but they were born in Puerto Rico. Guys from Dominican Republic. I think it was from Samaná. So they're and obviously Salvadorian people that were there for the conference. That is still an untapped community in as far as the bridging, right? There's new technologies. I'll give you a quick example. The Bolivia guy was very heavy on, and we've had conversations of this with both Barrios and Julio on what is the essence of cryptocurrency, right? It's yours, your keys, your money. And the idea of being centralized or decentralized, it rubs people the wrong way. This Bolivia guy was like, I got 4 passports. Like if it's time to move my money, my crypto, what I have, he's a Bitcoin maxi.
He's gone.
He's gone.
It's time for him to leave. He's gone. And there's nothing stopping him.
And it's one of those things, other conversations. I just want to just stress the fact that I would have not understood this mindset or heard it from the horse's mouth in the conference from a Bolivian in El Salvador. Right? It was from Guatemala. Shout out to Guatemala. Met awesome people. And part of the community, as you've seen, Bio, definitely Julio. Julio has been back on Spaces like full time, basically, right? And I say full time, that's more than 25 hours. A part-time job is 25 hours. If you hit more than 25 hours in the space, you're almost a full-time employee, right? Like you are putting in hours in the trenches, and obviously these are all different conversations. I go in and binge. I'm a binger. But we talked about the hustle. We talked about a little bit of entrepreneurship. Julio, let's just do a quick intro and get you on what is Bronx crypto? What does it mean to the Bronx? What does it mean to you? And give me like a quick timeline of, couldn't have planned that, right? The Watch the Climb just popped up. A quick timeline of what you've done in the last, let's say, year and a half, right? Okay. So the last year and a half, this thing flipped on me. We had technical difficulties earlier, and going back, talking about the energy, Bio was very instrumental in, like, you know, we were bouncing off each other like, oh, that's this, or that's dope. How do you do this? Or like this. Like we were. That was cool. And when you're in a community, this is what crypto community is. It could be a shoe, what do they call it? Hype beast community. It could be a community that it's, I'm trying to get that other thing to pop up again. It could be a community of, you know, now I've seen like an insurgent of North Face, right? All the old heads that had them in the time. And now it's a financial community. Now everybody's like, what do you mean? How do I do that? How do I get that? And then they see it in real time and the money's moving. They're not doing anything, but somehow the money's moving, right? I'm an XRP maxi. I wish I had more Bitcoin. Feel like, you know, Bitcoin was the well I got away.
It's not too late.
It's not too late. But let's talk a little bit about that community and what you saw. We'll have way more opportunities to talk about this, but let's say just the last year and a half, what have you been doing with the community? How have you been pushing?
All right, what's up, everybody? My name is Julio. I'm founder and CEO of Bronx Crypto. I'm a one-man band. Cryptocurrency has changed my life. I'm a community activist, a blockchain and web3 educator, and a advocate for reasonable policy regulation for cryptocurrency, because some of the regulations that they were passing a few years ago was insane. They were going to literally like take us out of the position that we are in now. So I'm glad that I can be heard and share my opinions, and my voice is being heard now in Congress. So I started Bronx Crypto in 2020. Exactly during COVID as well. I got into crypto about 8-9 years ago, almost a decade. I come from the healthcare background. I have over 20 years of experience in healthcare. I'm a surgical technologist, and I specialize in advanced interventional endoscopy. And that's where my investing journey began. I started investing and learning about money and how money works the traditional way with TradFi, with traditional finance, which is, you know, 401k, 403bs, stocks, stock options, precious metals like gold and silver. And that's when I finally was introduced to Bitcoin and crypto. And it took me a little bit of time to wrap my head around it. And once I saw it, once I actually learned it and understood it, I knew there was a big potential here, not just for me and myself, but also for my community. Like, so I'm from the Bronx. I'm a Bronx native. Shout out to Bronx native, because that's where I met Hector. And this is the power of small businesses, right? Omari Grullon, the founder of Bronx Native, has a hub in the middle of the South Bronx in Mount Haven called the Bronx Native Shop, where he sells Bronx-based merch and he hosts events there. And it's literally the heart of the community. There's buildings and skyscrapers building all around his shop, but he is the heart of the neighborhood. And when people go there, we network, we connect, we have a good time, we support each other. And that's where I met Hector. And Hector first talked to me about my Vast boots. You know, I'm a millennial stuck in the 90s, and I still wear my gear. And then we started talking about Bronx Crypto, because I had a Bronx Crypto shirt on, and he was like, what's Bronx Crypto? And I started telling him it's an educational learning platform that I created. And he was like, wow, like I'm into crypto. I know about crypto, and nobody's doing crypto in the Bronx. And I was like, I know. And that's how we started working together, and the rest is history. So I started having community events. Shout out to Carlos Cortez from the Cortez family, a chocolatier family since the 1900s. They had a restaurant here in the Bronx, and they allowed me to use their venue to host the first crypto meetup in the Bronx. And I say that proudly. And it was a great turnout. We had about 100 people. We donated crypto that day. We donated Polygon to everyone who attended. at the time, I think Bitcoin was around like $40,000. It was a great night because a lot of people got to meet me, got to connect with me, and I ventured on to even work with these people and collaborate with these people. That's also the power of Web3, because that's how I met my brother Vtatv. And the difference from Web 2 and Web 3, even though in life there's always little cliques and there's always people trying to gatekeep, the majority of the people in this space actually want to grow, want to help. So like I go on these Twitter spaces and I say like, does anybody know how to do this? Does anybody know how to download this? I need a videographer. I need this. And you should see how many people hit my DM like, I'm here, I'm there, or I know a guy. So it's really a great community to be a part of. I encourage you to get into these communities and meet people, because it's changed my life. And now I feel like my friends in Web3 are more important or more friend-like than my real friends in the real world. And some of these people in Web3 I've never even met personally. I've only met them in the spaces. So I started Bronx Crypto 2020, and it just took me on a wild ride. I started as an investor because I knew the irresponsible monetary policies of our government one day were gonna explode. There's just too much debt on top of the system, bottom line. And I knew that we cannot continue to kick the can down the block, because eventually our kids and our grandkids and their grandkids are going to be slaves to debt, and our money's going to depreciate to worth nothing, like to zero. And that's what's happening. And during my time as a community activist and spreading the word about crypto, that's when I started to get notoriety with congressmen and different people in government. So crypto has helped me personally because it shielded me from inflation. So for instance, I spent 20 years allocating money into traditional 401ks and Roth IRAs. And in half of that time, I've been able to 10x the money that I saved in 20 years with cryptocurrency. So that right there is crazy. And it can happen for you too. The second thing is, when I started getting notoriety, I started going to these community events. I started going to Bitcoin conference. I started going to Consensus. And that's when I met more people. Shout out to my brother Trapversity, Profits Over Wages. That's a whole nother, those are two legends from Miami that are revolutionizing Web3 in the space. I met them. Then when I connected with them, I met their friends and even more people. I met AK Honest, Rare Breed Economics, Miss Nifty, and it's just grown and grown and grown. And every time they just share like, what you doing? We coming over here. The next party's over there. Look out for this project. Look out for this coin. And it just continues to grow. And that's how I was able to be featured on Vice News. I was on had a documentary on Vice which aired in 2022. Then I was featured on Fortune magazine. I was featured on Yahoo Finance. I partnered up with Congressman Richie Torres to pass the first two crypto bills of legislation after the downfall of FTX, and I say that proudly. The first one that we passed was the Crypto Consumer Protection Act, to make sure that customers are taken care of, that these investment platforms like Coinbase, like Binance, to make sure that they do have the funds in place that you can cash out, and if something goes wrong, that they won't use your money and it go to zero. And the second one is the Crypto Exchange Disclosure Act, that if they are going to use your money, they need to give you consent. And I say this all the time: the relationship between you and your broker is just the same as you and your doctor. Just like you and your doctor have HIPAA, well, you and your exchange have the Crypto Exchange Disclosure Act, to make sure that you know what's going on. And after like FTX, Sam Bankman-Fried, $30 billion will just vanish out of thin air. Nobody knows where that money went, and that's not fair. I even lost money in that exchange. I had FTX coin and I had some Luna, and it's trials and tribulations. Sometimes you hit, sometimes you don't. It takes a lot of learning. It takes a strong gut to stomach the volatility in crypto. But it's 90% of it has been successful, and it's been a good ride. So don't get discouraged by the tough times. You got to get happy with the good times. And look at right now, another all-time high, Bitcoin, $111,000. And I mean, yeah. But one thing I gotta say is like I'm just so happy of where this space is growing, where this space is going, and where it's the evolution of the space. The reason I say this is because when I was going to Miami, shout out to Miami. Miami was going hard with blockchain and crypto. They had Mayor Suarez championing crypto so hard. He was speaking at all the events. You would drive on the highway and see Bitcoin signs, crypto accepted here, everywhere you go. And I used to say to myself, what is wrong with New York? Why is New York asleep at the wheel? What is wrong with our politicians? Why aren't they embracing this technology the same way that has helped me shield myself from inflation and also grow my wealth? The United States and all these other countries around the world could use this technology to harness that potential. So now that we hear Eric Adams, he just had his crypto council, the crypto summit at Gracie Mansion. And we're positioning ourselves because we're New Yorkers. So move over, Miami. Move over, Mayor Suarez. There's a new sheriff in town, and that's Eric Adams. Y'all got mad when I told y'all about Bitcoin. He told y'all. He took his first paychecks in Bitcoin, and he's got to be up right now. And I'm sure his paychecks are pretty bigger than usual people's paychecks. So he's probably doing well right now with his crypto allocations. And it's just the beginning. It's just the beginning. So we're driving on the West Side Highway and we see these signs, and it's only a matter of time. And we're using the technology here in the Bronx. The Bronx Native Shop is the first brick and mortar shop that's accepting cryptocurrency as payment. He's accepting Bitcoin, Ethereum, USDC, and Solana. And we made that happen. You know what I'm saying? We made that happen, and we continuing to onboard Bronx businesses. So not only am I a crypto educator who comes from healthcare, a blockchain and a crypto regulation advocate, but now we're using the tech to onboard Bronx businesses to get ahead, because it's only a matter of time till Amazon starts doing it. That's and Apple starts doing it with Apple Pay, Google Pay, Samsung Pay, Zelle. Our money's already digital. It's just a matter of time till they let the crypto part of it come into play, and that's going to be game changer.
Just to add real quick something to what Julio was saying, and again, shout out to Bronx Crypto, my brother right here, man. One of my biggest mentors, and look up to him like a big brother in this whole crypto native educational business side of things. But there's one thing he said that I want to just highlight, and this goes for everybody that's watching this, all right? People ask blockchain. We keep saying that word, blockchain. And I just want to just elaborate a little bit on this, right? Blockchain technology, yes, it's a protocol. For those that don't know what it is, just Google it or ask Siri, ask ChatGPT to break it down. But the true definition of blockchain, and if I'm not wrong, Julio, you can tap into this, is the full transparency, the security behind your ownership of asset, your identity, and your information. These are three things that today our centralized government system is not transparent with us with. Our banking system does not tell you what they're using your checkings account for, or your savings account money, and how they use that money to sort of create their own beneficial income using your money. Sometimes, most of you guys might have seen sometimes that a big wealthy person can come in and say, I want to take out $500,000. But the branch will tell you, we're not holding $500,000.
We need 48 hours to wire that for you, Mr. Gonzalez.
So, I mean, doesn't that mean that it's false advertisement in a way of how much funds you actually own at a branch, or how much funds you can actually access at that given moment?
Definitely.
That's the transparency part that, again, that legislative action that Julio passed together with one of the political individuals, Richie Torres, who was part of that movement, they brought into light. And that is the one thing that blockchain is doing. Every single transaction is an association with your crypto wallet address. There's an address that's attached to these transactions that associate to your transactions. Even though you remain anonymous, your actions, your transactions are public. And that is what creates the full transparency behind everything using blockchain technology. Eliminating scammers, eliminating the misuse of funds. And I'd like to see this be incorporated in our day-to-day life with our governments as well.
Yeah, you hit the nail right on the head. If I could piggyback off what you just said, if you can't understand crypto at the moment or blockchain, then at least try to understand your money, the paper in your pocket and the coins. It's literally just numbers on a screen. That's what's called the bank run, and we witnessed that in California, where a couple of thousands of people went to the bank at the same time and they couldn't access their money. There was no money in there for everyone. So
there's a number. Let's talk about that number of how much they need to keep. There's a physical number.
Yeah.
So I think it's just only 10%.
Correct. And that opens up the conversation. If you want to understand money, you have to understand how banks work, and it's called fractional reserve lending. Go on Google, put fractional reserve lending, go on YouTube. There's tons of videos about it. It's basically like a Ponzi scheme, or the bank acts as a loan shark. So if you come in and you want to deposit your hard-earned money, you work so hard to save up this money. You come into the bank. You say, okay, Bank of Chase, here you go. This is $5,000. Can you put it in a savings account for me? They say, okay, sure. They turn around before you even walk out the store, about the bank. They take that money and they lend it to Chris, and they charge Chris 29% interest. Chris does the same thing. He brings money to the bank because he wants to open up a savings account. The bank turns around before he walks out the bank. He turns around and gives it to Hector, also with 29% interest. So they take in from Peter to pay to Paul, and they continue that process over and over and over again. And this is just not right. It's not right. It's not sound. And if we did that, we would go to jail.
Correct.
They lock up the mafiosos for that.
So I didn't want to make it a crypto 101 convo. But I look, these are the nuggets that they need, and this is the nuggets for onboarding, right? So it took a turn, but it's a good turn. Let's tap into, and I know we got some other discussion points outside of the Watch the Climb. Wow, I couldn't plan that. That was good. Outside of the Watch the Climb, but I want to just touch in on moving money from point A to point B. We're seeing this transparency. You guys just threw some gems on. One of them is Bird Eye. If you want to just watch money being moved from one wallet to another, you may not know who the wallet belongs to, but you know the money was moved. Right? So this is a new asset class that has full disclosure built in, and that's the blockchain. So we're seeing now with XRP, with Bitcoin, whales are moving. That's the word for the people that have shitload of money, right? They're called whales. We see these wallets, transactions, point A to point B. It happens frequently, and you get, there's apps, right? You can go to SoulScan, or you can go to Bird Eye and just watch wallets or watch things being moved. So now let's talk about banking institutions, just to kind of close with this. And I want to open up your topics, right? Because off camera we went crazy. This is the first time we've been on camera talking the talk. Let's talk about the amount of time it goes. You mentioned Zelle, Julio. You mentioned we went to Bitcoin Miami the first time. It was Cash App had a volcano, right? There's like a 30-foot volcano, right?
They were the ones.
It's the biggest volcano I've ever seen in my life. So we already using money digitally, right? We've been using money digitally. Credit cards, right? That was the first time we've seen. Banks have been using checks. I think they're called mercs, right? The bottom of the check, that you route money from point A to point B. So there's really no physical money being moved. It's being done in zeros and ones, right? It's all binary. So we've been part of that. We just don't think of it that way. I don't want that money, but you don't have whatever your nest egg is. Nobody has it under their mattresses anymore. It's in your bank or your Roth or your 401. Now let's talk a little bit about, you mentioned getting burned with FTX, right? I got burned with Saitama. I got billions of Saitama. It's not worth anything. Billions. I'm a billionaire.
I'm there with you.
Right, so I got burned with it. I like the idea. Vegas came around, smoke and mirrors, etc. I think I invested like $400 ETH at the time. And I'm holding billions, right, for no reason. But let's just use that equation. If I want to move billions of whatever coin, Sol, ETH, BTC, whatever, USD, Cox. Right? Pause. No pause, right? Whatever I want to
No
move.
Diddy's nowadays.
Right? Whatever I want to move. Let's say I wanted to move $10,000 in I want you to touch on this. I'm having that fun problem again. Let's say I
Well,
wanted
10,000 is actually a small number. I mean, to many viewers out there watching, it's a big number. But
in a second.
when you talk about the millions, and you're talking about, that type of money, you got to sign applications, you got to sign different things, different wires, all these hurdles that you got to jump through to send your money. So if you wanted to take your money to a different continent, let's say Africa, you got a better chance jumping on a jet.
Let's just say 10,000. 10,000, you have it has to be reported.
Yeah, you get a red flag after $9,999.
So let's talk about the time and let's talk about the time and speed of me going to the bank, going back to what you said about the bank run, me going to the bank and saying, you going to the bank, you going to the bank, hey, we're going to buy a property together. Let me go take out 50,000. You take out 50, we take out 50. We're going to throw a big down payment on this, big property. Can we do that today? Can we do that?
And the answer is yes. And I'm gonna say something.
No, in the bank. Can we do that in the bank? Can we go?
Nah, not really.
Oh, no, I'm sorry. I misunderstood the question.
Yeah. So can we do that in the bank?
It takes credibility.
Okay.
You need credibility.
Right.
You have to have a good social standing when it comes to credit or some sort of financial background, right? I mean, the banks use what they use to sort of calculate your establishment of lends or funds of lends that they can give you is multiple factors, right? But some of those are credit scores.
Yeah.
Some of those are also your income, annual income, gross income.
I'm noting all the hurdles we have to get through. Keep going.
Of course. And then you also have as well your prior credit history. If you have delinquencies in the past, or if you have write-offs, also known as settlements, if you have been in bankruptcy, that plays another big major role.
And we didn't even get to redlining, right? Sometimes these banks could be predatory. Sometimes we don't know who's really authorizing or giving you the green flag. So sometimes, based on your last name or your nationality, your place of origin, or your beliefs, you could get discredited like that. And let's say you do get the loan, you do get pre-approved for the loan. Maybe they don't want you in certain neighborhoods. Maybe they don't want your religion in certain neighborhoods, or So it's a lot of factors
so
out there.
With that red tape, let's close out.
Yo, shout out to my boy Cowboy Tom, because he went through that. He opened the bar downtown at 120 Orchard Street, New York City, by Chinatown, Soho area, and the banking industry were giving him a hard time to actually get that money.
So now let's fast forward into today's time. We got a couple of hurdles, right? Some of them are bigger than others, right? Hurdles. Now it was crypto. You've got 50, I got 50. How quickly can we move this and settle property through NFT, through, I'll send you the money and they agree to get paid in Sol? Like, how fast are we moving now?
I'll tell you this much, before you finish that sentence right there, they would have got their money already. That's how fast. That's how fast that process is. Because
as long as the realtor or the brokerage is in cahoots and accepting crypto as the payment for the property, and the buyer and the seller agree, then it could go instantaneously. Like, if we wanted to do that, we can get a collateralized loan against our crypto. We won't even have to sell our crypto. We deposit our crypto, get a loan from it, and then go get a house.
Correct.
So
you don't need a credit check. You don't need a background check, because everything is already there with the smart contracts, with your identification, and they got all the information already.
I mean, it's more or less.
And you don't need an attorney. That you got to pay an attorney, and you got to do all that other stuff.
Correct. And I mean, to add in what you're saying, because just in case people need to understand this as well, these transactions that go on the blockchain with crypto, there's something called peer-to-peer. It removes the banking middleman and puts us directly with the wholesaler or the receiver, right? And that is what it is. If I'm the buyer and I'm trying to buy something from the wholesaler or the seller, it puts us in direct communication of financial transactions instead of me paying the bank distributing the funds to the seller, right? That middleman is
escrow.
process. Correct. Yeah, correct. And that middleman is the one who sort of delays the process, right? Because they have to authenticate both parties. They got to check the credibility. And there's a whole bunch of factors and steps that will go into it. But let's bounce back to my boy Hector and giving you guys this
it could take
411.
30 days, 60 days, 90 days. It could take 6 months.
It's true.
But if I wanted to sell my stuff, it takes seconds.
Right. Very much.
Like if I wanted to sell some of my stock, let's not even talk crypto. I just call up the stock, call up Fidelity, Vanguard, Charles Schwab, make my suggestion, and okay, Mr. Barrios, boom, and it gets done. Or if I wanted to use whatever exchange I'm using with my phone, I could do the same thing with my Robinhood or whatever.
Yeah, that's true. Accurate as hell.
Awesome, guys. I wanted to just close on this. We went through the vision, the hustle, the climb. What is next? So what do we? I know where I see, and not to give too much away, but as far as like continuously activate, being an activist, broadcasting to more, learning more systems, getting busy with augmented reality. What do we see, guys? What's next for you guys? I want you guys to close with telling me what's next, and I know we're gonna. There's so many events that we haven't touched on, and
It's just the first episode still, don't worry.
yeah, for sure. And I wanted to piggyback off of, doing a watch the climb. We talked about earlier about the encouragement of being around like-minded people, of being pushed in the right areas. When you're around the same, this gets thrown around too loosely, but it's 100% correct. When you're around the same frequency, things change.
Right.
If you're listening to certain music, you listen to certain what you would call the BPS, right?
Yeah, you get influenced. If you listen to drill, you get influenced.
You get completely influenced.
If you listen to conscious rap, you get influenced.
100%. So here with these communities, now we're influenced to say, look, how can we influence others? How can we I've done, aside from doing since 1999 being in the tech, I've also done martial arts for 15 years. I had my own studio for 6. Prior to that, I taught ice skating. I had rec leagues. I didn't have rec leagues, but I was a part of that. So I've always been in a nurturing, mentoring environment where I know that I'm giving you, my namaste, right? I'm giving you all my light. Hopefully blesses the light in you. So the crypto community is all about who knows this? How do you do this? How do you get in? And everybody is 6 years old and everybody wants to play in the sandlot. Like it's such a welcoming community. So I just wanted to make sure I highlight that. Not everybody is an FTX. Not everybody, right? That is far in between and it does happen. So definitely shout out to the regulators. Julio, I know that's like one of your last feathers in your cap that you're really trying to push into that direction. But talk to me, let's just close the 1 and 2 minutes on if I can get back onto this app.
That's really 5-10 minutes, 1 or 2 minutes. Once we start talking.
Dealing with Bronx crypto and Hector and Chris.
Yeah, we done this.
When the energy's organic, it just flows, bro. It just flows. We're having fun here.
So it's a Dominican 2 minutes, right?
The Dominican, the Dominican. So tell me, Bio, what is new and what is to come? What are we trying to
I'll
push?
say this much, Heck. That's a very good question, and I'll say it like this: we want to bring in the whole community. That's next. We want to see our middle class workers, our hard workers, our native brothers and sisters representing the Caribbean islands. Dominican is where I'm from, República Dominicana.
Latino America.
Yes, the Latin American community, and even here, the immigrants that came for a better life to the United States, who are the working class Americans today, considered the middle class people who are paying high taxes, who are getting ripped off of big high APRs, who are getting denied for things that they deserve, healthcare, opportunities in credit cards, credit lines, home mortgages. All of these are opportunities that
feeling
will
the
help.
pinch of inflation at the grocery store.
Yes, that's true. And that's my vision. I want to help the community and in partnership with you guys, Hector and Bronx Crypto, my boy Julio, and as we've been doing, is educating the community. So hopefully in the next, 2 to 5 years, we can actually get the whole city of New York to see a vision that we've been trying to push for a couple, almost half a decade now? You know?
Yeah, I think it's going to be much sooner and earlier than that, because what we're going to start to witness now, we're going to start to witness the United States government putting Bitcoin on its balance sheets. We're going to see U.S. companies putting Bitcoin and crypto on their balance sheets. We're going to see them start to use the technology, and America sets the trends. Okay, I know we have a lot of problems in America, but we still are the leaders of the free world. Okay, and don't you ever forget that, and don't you ever think otherwise. And when other people start to say, oh, look at what America's doing, just like they're doing now, they're going to start to get on board. And let's just, before, I close off a little bit, I'm going to give you 3 reasons why crypto is sound money, right? Developers found a way to take the properties of money and give us that power back and make it more efficient. Number 1 is fast and secure. The blockchain is unhackable. It cannot be hacked. There's so many networks of computers. By the time if you try to hack one, and if you don't have the correct mathematical equation, you won't be able to hack the next one, and the system, you'll fail. It won't happen. The second one is immutable. Whatever data goes into that blockchain cannot be tampered with. So no corrupt government or corrupt CEO could come in and burn the books or cook the books, how they say. And the third one is transparent. It's there for everyone to see, for everyone to witness. So these are 3 reasons why Bitcoin is sound money. And the next thing, we're preparing for June 27th. The week of June 25th, 26th, and 27th is NFT NYC. This is a big event where people from all over the world, all over the space, come to New York City to attend these events. There's going to be events all over the city, but the main one, I'm co-hosting one right here in the Bronx, a couple blocks away at La Bodega. La Bodega, La Bodega.
It's an event space.
Event space. And it's going to be a movie schmovie. There's going to be a lot of people. There's going to be performers. There's going to be educators. We're going to have panels. We're going to have refreshments. We're going to have food, vibes. It's perfect for you to come learn. It's perfect for you to come network. It's perfect for you to come and create content. All you content creators. That's a perfect opportunity, because there's going to be so many people that you are going to be welcomed, and you're not going to be chased away. And you could get your tickets. Just go on our Instagram pages. We're posting it every day. Follow the Pigeons of New York. Their NFT community. They've had NFT launches for 5 years straight. Phase 1, Phase 2, Phase 3, Phase 4, and now is Phase 5, the final lap. You can actually get their NFTs on OpenSea. They're a reasonable price, and it's not about just holding the NFT or thinking that the NFT is going to appreciate in value, even though in my opinion it is, right? We're not here to show anything. It's about you being part of the community. NFTs is for you to be a part of the community. And Jim and Smarts, the founders of Pigeons of New York, have done a phenomenal job growing their community. So I'm proud to be a part of this event. I'm also going to be on the panel talking about what makes crypto special. So please, if you're a content creator, musician, into fashion, entrepreneur, you have to be at this event, June 27th, NFT NYC. Stay tuned. Get your tickets now.
Tap in with that also. Again, we will be also myself. You can catch me at the NFT NYC VIPs speaker panel this year, together with speaking with my boy Bronx Crypto at the Pictures of New York La Bodega event, also known as The Last Stop. And if you're wondering what are those phases about, there's NFT collections, 5 phases, 5 boroughs. There's the last phase 5, representing one of the last 5 boroughs here in New York City. Check it out. Back to my boy Hector. Y'all know what it is, man. Bronx Crypto, Vtatv. On to the next one.
Guys, this is the first one, by the way, the first episode of Watch the Climb being shot here. So I'm very excited that we made the time. We've been talking about it a lot. Obviously, we have tons of conversations on three-way. I got to get also involved in spaces more often. I got to binge a little bit more on that. I'll definitely will not be traveling that time period. I'll be at La Bodega. So right on cue. Watch the climb, guys. I appreciate you guys coming on, talking all the crypto, man. It's like I know we're still in the onboarding phases, so a lot of this stuff is like I know it's not repetition. It's not monotonous. It's just natural because you guys been talking the talk for quite a while. I saw both of you guys, and I've heard Vita bio on Spaces. Like he just locks in and goes crazy with it. And obviously, I've been around Julio to see him on camera, off camera. I'm just excited and hope to definitely help you guys grow the space. That's all we got, man. Watch the climb. Let's get it. All right.
Catch us till next time, guys. Y'all know what it is.
You already know.
Vtatv, Bronx Crypto, signing out. And before we leave that, matter of fact, your vision, your hustle, your climb.
Hey, stop hustling on the block.
Dale otra vez.
Your vision, your hustle, your climb.
Stop hustling on the block for a chain and let your money grow on the blockchain.
Yeah.
Block to the blockchain, New York City's finest. Catch you till next time, guys.
Awesome. That's it.
Yo, you edit that a little bit? Like when the